Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nixie coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today. It's your boy Nixon, aka Mr. Studio Rack. I'm gonna fuck around and start calling myself that. So hey, today we got the 42 Dugg preset. So if you guys do have any more different suggestions or any different type of artists y'all want to see down below, go ahead and drop it. I'm more than happy to get to it. And let's not waste no time. If you're interested in getting this preset, you're gonna catch the link down below to grab this mainstream 42 Dugg Detroit sauce. Okay, so let's not waste no time. We're getting a little too hype. Let's play a little music and see how you can get that hard Detroit mainstream type of sound. Let's go.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy it. Nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro should've died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg. Probably in so fast in the Glock with a hood. Course I take spill a walk on the wood.
Okay, but real quick, let's put it up to the original 42 Dugg and let's hear how close we was. Let's hear if this is a real. Do this really sound like 42 Dugg, man? Let's listen to that bit, man.
Yeah, that's us. Two-tone AP, yeah, I'm bust. Got the hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy it. Nothing on me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro should've died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still bet my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train all bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock in the hood. Course I take spill a walk on the wood. Yeah, that's us. Two-tone AP, yeah, I'm bust. Got the hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy it. Nothing on me for sex, everything hurt. So my bitch broke bad, I ain't had her hurt. Yeah, that's us. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got the hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy it. Nothing on me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro should've died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still a bet my life shooting dice.
Okay, now I get it, Nick. That's why we call them bullseye of a tutorial. All right, let's stop fucking around. Let's get to this 42 Dugg vocal. So with 42 Dugg's type of song, he has a thing in his voice called a teetering. It's not really snickering, but it's more like teetering. You know, it's kind of sound like when 42 Dugg was rapping this, he was kind of smiling a little bit, but smiling in like a street gritty way, knowing that everything he's saying is real. You know, he's staying true to himself, and that's the main ingredient to, you know, being successful as a musician and as a person. You gotta stay true to you. You know, don't be coming on these songs trying to act like something that you're not. Because even if people don't know you, they're gonna feel the feeling, you know. So somebody like 42 Dugg, he's really gritty, he's really from the streets, he's really from Detroit, you know. He's really about everything that he says. So with 42 Dugg, I have to make sure as an engineer I'm enhancing the story that he's telling, all his experiences, right? So you know, the very first plugin that I went over today was the SSL-G channel strip. And with that, you know, I understand that the SSL-G is gritty. Okay, I keep saying it because we already know it. Usually somebody like Dr. Dre, he made his whole career on the SSL-G console. And that sound is very familiar for rap and rock, that grimy, gritty type of sound. So the settings that I kind of used here, understanding that 42 Dugg doesn't have a deep voice, we were not too aggressive with the filtering. It was only about 26 hertz. And the most important thing too is I was trying to add a little bit of transient. I was trying to add a little bit of harshness to 42 Dugg's vocals. So, you know, in order to do something like that, I use compression. Oh yes, true. I use compression, you know. Pretty much I used the limiter, right? And I only added just a little bit of compression with a kind of quick release to kind of enhance that the bite of 42 Dugg's vocal, enhance the teetering of his vocals. So that's what I always do as an engineer. I listen to like, what is his main attribute, right? Is it speed? Is it power? And I enhance that. I try to magnify that, you know, try to make it even better. So let's listen to it with and without the preset, actually, first of all.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy it. Nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro should've died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy it. Nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro should've died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Course I take spill a walk on the wood.
Okay, so you guys have an understanding what it sounds like with and without. I was trying to go for like a real ominous kind of dark type of, the cover of Lil Baby's, deluxe edition, kind of like that those colors, like dark, really atmospheric. So yeah, we use the SSLG channel. Let's listen to it with and without, and of course, like how I said, we were just tidying up a little bit of the low end. We were very moderate with the low end of 42 Dugg's vocal, just kind of understanding that Dugg don't really got too much body inside of his vocal, so I gotta kind of like really preserve every single inch of gasoline that I got in the tank with 42 Dugg's voice when it comes to the low end. So let's listen to it with and without.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy none from me for sex, everything revive. Old Nick tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy none from me for sex, everything revive. Old Nick tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some.
So I use something like that limiter on the SSLG to enhance the transients. I'm actually bringing out more of the harshness. Don't listen to people when they say kill all the harshness. No, fuck that. We need that shit because his life was harsh. He's talking about all the stuff that he went through in the streets. Now, what you think? How you think 42 Dugg's life was? You think it was picket fences and roses? And no, bro, he came from the streets. He came from the mud. So I brought a little bit of that harshness so you could really feel it. Now it becomes more than words. After that, we have something like the CLA 3A, just doing a little bit of optical compression because, I do want it to have that little point, but I still want it to be smooth as well. I don't want it to be creamy or nothing like that. I want it to be modern and very direct, like 42 Dugg just telling you what he going through. He went to Sax Fifth and he blew a bag. So, let's look at something like the CLA 3A, how it was able to give us help. And of course, I used the limiter again. Wow.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy none from me for sex, everything revive. Old Nick tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna.
So barely just really tapping that limiter, using these two limiters and kind of like back to back just to give me some of that aggression, as well as just a little bit of abruptness to 42 Dugg's type of sound. And the most important thing is understanding the CLA 3A is kind of like related to a LA 2A. They both have optical components, which they mean it uses light to do the compression, but in a situation like this, they both have transformers as well. So they're kind of like related, but not really. They're actually really kind of closely related. I ain't gonna lie, but they look different. So yeah, the 3A, I pushed the output gain a little bit, give them some of that transformer worth in that body. After that, we had something like the de-esser, barely, really not doing too much work.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy none from me for sex, everything revive. Old Nick tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch not Dugg. Probably.
So pay attention, like at this point in time, I haven't even really done that much EQ as well. Pretty much like a lot of the times when you got somebody who got like a skinny voice, like 42 Dugg, just the fact that they don't have a lot of low end in their vocal is going to bring up a lot of the high end. So I don't really like to play around with that too much. The C6 is just kind of a counter move because I had two limiters back to back, bringing out more of the transient of his vocal. Two-tone AP, yeah, that's buzz, twice, like all of that stuff, bringing it all out. You know what I mean? That's very important to me for somebody like 42 Dugg, and that's very important for somebody like, a rapper like this who's rapping for the streets. The people in the streets, they want to feel it. They want to feel like, okay, he know what we going through. And as an engineer, you're fucking responsible to make it sound like that. Okay, so after that, let's look at the C6. So interestingly enough, all we're doing is we're just really going in there using the free floating bands to de-honk and de-harsh just a little bit.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy none from me for sex, everything revive. Old Nick tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got a hair from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy none from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try, still been my life.
So let's pay attention to this C6 as well as you know, the SSL coming back to the first EQ. I'm very, very careful with the nasaliness of 42 Dugg's vocal. Two-tone AP. Like if you go listen to his original vocal, you will hear the he's got this nasaliness frequency in his voice, but you can't limit yourself. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and attack that nasaliness. That's bad. I'm gonna cut it all out, because that's the character of his vocal. So me understanding that, I'm being very non-invasive about it. On the SSLG, I did like what, a dB, a moderate dB. Now, even when it comes to, you know, me going back in there and you know, sculpting it out a little bit more, I'm only using the C6 just to de-honk it just a little bit, and that's only dynamically when there's a build-up. So yeah, dynamic processing is good for when you want to be non-invasive. You know, and usually when I use something like the C6, I kind of treat it like, you know, those people at the beach who got that metal detector shit. Like, you know, I put it on solo and I try to like really hone in and pay attention to like, where's the gold, you know, make sure I don't hit any of the character, but wherever the harshness is, wherever that little that nastiness that kind of makes it unbearable, I take that out. So yeah, you know, that's the beautiful thing about C6. You get the floating bands versus C4. You only get like the shelves and all that shit like that, you know. And you know, after that, we had something like the REQ, and I was pretty abrupt, you know, understanding how I'm managing my top end. I had like a brick wall. I had a brick wall, low pass filter type of situation. So let's listen to what it sound like with and without.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from, I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try, still been my life, shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch, not Dugg. Probably in so fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside tick, spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from, I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try, still been my life, shooting dice in the hood. Take who.
So look at when I started to like roll off the low and damn near all the way at the end. You know, I told you, like, you know, it's kind of like survival of the fittest. When you're a mixing engineer, you got to understand what tools do you have? Do you have a hammer? How much water do you have? How much food do you have? You got to ration it out. All right, how much low end in this vocal do I have? How much high end do I have? Okay, how much like transient, how much, you know, gust of air do I have? Do I want to bring that out? Do I want to take it away? If I got too much, I need to get rid of it. You know, it's always a situation like that. You know, you got to manage your resources of the vocal. Okay, so after that, we have something like the CLA 76 on blackface mode. I'm understanding that 42 Dugg, he's making that dark sound, that dark street sound. So I don't want it to be too bright, pretty and friendly. Hello, how are you doing? I don't want the vocal to sound like a bitch. So I use the blackface. You know, sometimes if I want it to sound bright and friendly, I will use the blue face, but I understand that's the way the music is talking to me. Is the music street like tough, or is the music like, you know, friendly, you know, open and inviting? So that's kind of how I see the CLA 76. The blackface to me is eyes closed, and the bluey is like eyes wide open. That's kind of how I see it. And let's just look at the needle most importantly.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from, I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try, still been my life, shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch, not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside tick, spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from, I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything.
So I pretty much use the CLA 76 to become like a goddamn arsonist and just really blow up the whole vocal. You know, the compression becomes audible. You gotta understand when you don't want to hear the compression and when you do. So this time I was doing like 3 dB with the fastest release and also the slowest attack. You know, I done already put in so much work getting them transients to hit how I want. Bye, slut, bye, two-tone, like I done already put in so much work to make that sound good. You know, as an engineer, sometimes you got to know when to do a counter move and when to not fuck up a good thing that you already got going. So I use the slowest, absolutely slowest attack to let a lot of the transients come through, and the quickest to release, so you can hear the compression, you hear the transition. It sounds like his vocals on fire. It's blown up now. You know, I put a little bit of dynamite under his vocal. After that, of course, we had the RVox, giving somebody like you know, giving somebody like 42 Dugg some body in his vocal. You know, the vocal needs some balls, you know, it needs some testosterone. It needs something that, you know, and at that point I was putting in some noise too, you know, and I like to put in noise on people who got like a skinny vocal, because it makes it sound bigger than what it really is. You know, it's kind of like when you get a bag of chips and, you know, that bag of chips, it looks big, but then you open it and it's just air. That's pretty much what I'm doing to the listener when I add a little bit of analog noise. I'm making it feel like it's bigger than what it is. I'm making it feel like it's more chips than what's really inside of the bag. more, you know, beef and more size than what's really inside of his vocal. So after that, I use the gate, you know, so, you know, when the vocal isn't playing, then you don't hear that noise, you know what I mean? And yeah, pretty much let's look at what the RVox was doing, just adding some body and everything like that. That you know, 42 Dugg kind of needed with that high pitched type of vocal.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not good. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood.
Yeah, so that's kind of what our RVox was giving us, a lot of presence. And, you know, sometimes I might make it even lower than what it was, you know, the incoming signal, you know, kind of like hitting the RVox hard, but then like making the vocal a little bit lower. Because that, you know, like this last one right here is a limiter. So you're getting some tone out of this thing. You know what I mean? And, you know, pay attention. That's damn near like the third freaking limiter we done used at this point. And also thinking about the ratio of the CLA 76, you know, a harder knee makes it a little bit more aggressive. So that's why I went with something like 8/4. You know, each one of these ratios will change the tone, the way that the vocal is kind of like projecting and everything like that. So let's look at the tape that we have right here. Knowing 42 Dugg, knowing that I done already added so much transient, I need to de-harsh it. And something like tape is such a great way to de-harsh a vocal without using a de-esser. So let's look.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood.
All right, so most importantly, we had just a little itsy teeny bitty witty type of high pass filter right here, 32 hertz, just rolling off some of that sub. With the tape, there is like usually like a bump in the low end, depending on what formula you use, and it just makes it sound like it's a part of the song pretty much. And after that, we had something like the fresh air is really helping it sound very, very mainstream, very sparkly and bright.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood.
And, you know, at that point, we done already hit the trim, you know, like 4 dB. So it's kind of important the way I go in and out of plugins as well, because like you got to understand the sequence of plugins. Like I know I'm going into a de-esser right now, and I know I just boosted it with a fresh air. So I don't want that to be like annoying. You know what I mean? I don't want it to make the de-esser work too much hard. You know, I don't want to overwhelm my de-esser. So that's why I trimmed it down before it even hit, you know, the de-esser itself. So after that, we had like a little slap back for, you know, we had a little slap back delay for 42 Dugg, and I actually extended the high end. I don't know what it was. It's just that squeaking, that tittering dance, two-tone AP, yeah. I wanted that to really come out with some of the effects I using, so that's why I opened up the top of the H delay. So little strategic moves like that, stuff like that, you know. It doesn't always have to be a radio-y echo. Then after that, you know, we had our reverb, which, you know, we were kind of going for like a really, really big, you know, space. And the thing about you know, using like an IR reverb, I like to use a reverb like this, which models a real room, because it reacts better to like the S's, and like you can start to hear like the transitions in between the S's. You can start to hear the harshness and the, you know, it kind of like, it just makes it very obvious that there is some sibilance here. Yeah, you know, that's what I was trying to enhance with somebody like 42 Dugg. Two-tone AP, yeah, but that tithering, that tickering with his voice and everything like that. That's his main attribute. So when it comes from the reverb, the delay, all that stuff is playing into my mind before I even start to mix. That's how you get an outcome like this, having it sound just like that. So yeah, pretty good thing about something like the H verb is you get the response of a real room, and I sync the pre-delay to the actual tempo of the music. Okay, so let's listen to it with and without the reverb.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died. No, he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died, no he ain't killed dog.
So actually the reverb is relatively big. You gotta always think about the timing of the reverb. I have a reverb that's 3 seconds and he's rapping like really fast. So sometimes you can make the reverb big with the size but small with the time, or the other way around. The reason why I kind of did it like this is because I kind of wanted a little bit of like the sound of leakage, you know, the sound of like the reverb leaking into each bar that he's rapping into, but then you use something like the a sidechain compressor as well. So it just kind of makes it very obvious that the reverb is pumping, you know, trying to make his vocal seem like it's bigger than what it is. Now you can hear a little bit more of the air inside of the bag of chips, like how I was talking about. And of course, with the signature 42 Dugg sound, if you want to get that ad-lib sound that he gets, my ad-libs on this video are not like that, but honestly his sound realistically is a doubler at a very, very high volume. So
two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died, no he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg, probably in. Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex, everything revive.
So yeah, if you're going for a 42 Dugg sound, if you did not know it was a doubler that he was using on his voice, well, there you go. It's a doubler. He's doing a doubler at a very, very high level. And then yeah, we have a 76 that's, you know, that's not even worth mentioning, honestly. I don't like to repeat myself. All right, then last thing after that, let's just go over the ad-libs real fast for 42 Dugg. It wasn't nothing really crazy, you know, just using a little bit of that good old REQ, that good old REQ, keeping it very simple, going into something like a RVox as well, going into something like an RVox with a really, really high level type of gate situation. So listen.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died, no he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg, probably in so fast in the Glock with a.
So yeah, it's pretty much like the RVox is playing peekaboo with the goddamn you know, ad-libs essentially. And then after that, we playing peekaboo even worse, even more. We with the gate of the SSL. And I like to use the SSLG like on the previous part, right? I'm gonna track back a little bit. I like tracking back. On the previous part, you know, of the reverb, right? Pay attention to instead of a REQ, I used the SSLG because I wanted the reverb to have a completely different texture from the rest of the lead vocal and the rest of the effects. So I used the SSLG and I did the SSL trick, which is I took the threshold, no compression, and put it all the way out. That usually gives you the sound of the compression circuitry that makes it sound gritty. So I'm using contrast like in a way like that too, you know. My vocals are clean, but then like my effects are kind of like dirty and gritty and nasty. And then after that, we had the SSL, you know, doing that same exact trick on the ad-libs as well, you know, and it just cutting off the lows, really tightening up the lows. And let's just pay attention to this expander that I kind of got going on.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died, no he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg, probably in so fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside tick, spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex.
So that's kind of how I get that pumping effect from the rest of my ad-libs, just gating the ad-libs. I'm getting that why. So it's not just that rapper that's doing that. As an engineer, you gotta do your damn part too to enhance that, bruh. Enhance that. Something like a gate, something as simple as a gate, the compressor you pick is all about enhancing it. Okay, he already gave me a good take, but the good take got to be the first priority. You need that first of all. If you want to, you know, run that engine, you got to have the gas, you got to have the keys to the car, you got to have everything to get the motor running for the rest of the song. You know, you got to have an actual good take to make it good, you know. After that, we have this CLA vocals right here. I use mostly Waves Gold Bundle plugins, but this was another plugin I use right here just for the ad-libs because I like it has a different type of reverb, a different delay. It kind of just gives a kind of like a little bit of separation.
Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died, no he ain't killed dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life shooting dice in the hood. Take who train out, bitch not Dugg, probably in so fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside tick, spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, bust. Got in here from I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy nothing from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him bro shoulda died.
Right, so yeah, you guys pretty much get it. And at the end of this, we had the flanger, which was kind of helping, just make it sound different, because the flanger is at the back end. So that means the flanger is working on that reverb, is working on that delay, is working on that little stereo widener. It's just completely giving the ad-libs their own sound. But even though they got their own sound, they're glued by that effect. And then the last thing, the parallel split, we had a distortion stomp as well, just to make them a little bit more gritty.
Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got to hear from, I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him, bro, shoulda died. No, he ain't killed, dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life, shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch, not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take, spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, I bust. Got to hear from, I ain't even wanna fuck. Why slut? Buy enough from me for sex, everything revive. Old nigga tell him, bro, shoulda died. No, he ain't killed, dog, he ain't even try. Still been my life, shooting dice in the hood. Take who train now, bitch, not Dugg. Probably in some fast in the Glock with a hood. Courtside take, spill a walk on the wood. Two-tone AP, yeah, but
So yeah, that would be a situation where I had two big reverbs, one on the ad-lib, one on the lead vocal, but you still hear the separation because of the actual effects I use. I use the flanger distortion. There's multiple ways to approach this. So I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. I really do appreciate y'all. If y'all want to get this template, it's gonna have the lead preset for 42 Dugg, the ad-libs, a mastering preset, and a beat leveler. So I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.